We've been hearing some really bad news surrounding Borderlands 4. Months ago, of course, Randy Pitchford said, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to spend more money on our game. And now that release is right around the corner, we've been hearing that there's going to be a big day one patch, but people still shouldn't expect it to run perfectly. And even in paid promotional videos, the game is crashing, making this team look like complete and utter fools. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of AAA video games release and be buggy and broken slop fests. They either push a political ideology in your face, they are not completed, it's like they're half-assed experiences. I mean, even look at something like Callisto Protocol. It was supposed to be the big next Dead Space competitor, and they sold you the ending separately, which was crazy. We see games that nickel and dime you for all the content they possibly can, and yes, they are technologically challenged. It's like these developers don't really know how to make video games, and they need to go back to the drawing board, maybe start over, maybe just quit the industry in general. But Borderlands 4 seems like it's going to be another very controversial title. We know that Borderlands 3 didn't go over particularly well with people. Of course, the Borderlands movie that recently came out was a complete and utter nightmare, and now 4 doesn't look really all that special either. Maybe there are some people out there who love this franchise and who are really excited for it. I really like the first two Borderlands games, but the franchise has fallen off for me personally. And then Randy Pitchford's statements months ago about how if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to spend as much money on this game as possible really didn't sit well with me and, of course, many other people. He did backtrack and apologize, probably because he was getting raked across the coals for it, but now they're, of course, days away from launch. They're doing all of these promotional videos, and it is a nightmare. I mean, we are talking about people completing very basic actions in a game and then it crashing the title. So this video has been going kind of viral in the gaming space. It's from Team Coco. It says Clueless Gamer, Borderlands 4, and it's Conan O'Brien playing this game. It's clearly a big press tour that's going on with Borderlands 4 right now, but he plays a lot of games to raise money. In this case, it's for the charity Next for Autism, and usually these companies and also his team kind of get together and then they make a big donation. It also is basically supposed to be good, positive, free press for these companies when their title launches. But in this case, that definitely didn't happen because during the experience, right, he's just playing the game. He's not doing anything insane. It's not like he's, I don't know, climbing through a wall he's not supposed to and trying to break the game intentionally. First of all, it is extremely stuttery. It's not running well, and you would imagine that he would have an amazing setup for this event, and in the past there hasn't been any major problems with games. And then all of a sudden, he's fighting, and he's shooting. The game completely crashes. That is absolutely crazy. During the promotional video, your game, it says a multiple crashes detected. You can't even play it. And he wasn't doing anything insane either. And they are getting absolutely blasted for this because not even that long ago, just a couple of days ago, we saw Randy Pitchford say Borderlands 4's day one patch does a lot, but don't expect miracles from older PC hardware. Apparently getting this game to run on modern hardware is a miracle also because people can't even play it when they are either being paid to promote it or they are agreeing to promote it for a charity freaking event. This is an absolute catastrophe for the Borderlands 4 team and Microsoft in general, and this is why we always say do not pre-order games, because developers do not care about respecting your time or your wallet. This game clearly needed another year of development. This game clearly is nowhere near being completed, but still they're pumping it out because they said to themselves, you know what, in 2025 we need to make a little bit of money, so we have to launch our next big title. It doesn't look good for them though. When your game is breaking and it is buggy and you already are damage controlling days to weeks prior to the release, yeah, you're basically saying this game's a major red flag, do not pre-order it. It sucks to not be able to trust studios when it comes to the level of quality. Sure, maybe the storytelling isn't great, maybe the characters aren't great, maybe there are problems with the way that the story is being presented itself, but even all of that aside, and we know that Borderlands 4 does push a political ideology with characters having, they them pronouns and being transgender, we know that this game is a technological mess and it shouldn't have been released in this state. It is completely unacceptable. And this is still Randy Pitchford's game, the same Randy Pitchford who said, well, you will find a way to spend more money on this title. And of course, Borderlands 4 is now getting absolutely raked across the coals on social media, and rightfully so. When you are creating a bad product, your product deserves to get called out. Barely even looks better than BL3. The whole point of cell shading is that it's supposed to deliver without being taxing. None of this should be necessary. Borderlands is an absurd and cartoony shooter looter. It should prioritize smooth gameplay with stylized graphics over spec pushing for visual eye candy. One recalls when BL3 came out and you couldn't play co-op on console without the game freezing anytime the menu was open. Seems the situation has gotten worse. It is crazy that we are going backwards, and I get that games are larger in scale and scope, and all of these development teams are ballooning and they've got thousands of people working on a single game and hundreds of millions of dollars going into a project, so they need to create something that is larger than life, but they are reaching too far and they need to scale back their ideas. It's like with Kojima. I think Kojima is a really good storyteller when he's being reined in. It's just that unfortunately he has 50 ideas and he puts 50 of them into the game instead of having an editor say, no, only put 30 into the game so it's a more cohesive experience. He's got a lot going for him, but he just fails to deliver a lot of the time to the best of his ability, in my opinion, because he's going too above and beyond. AAA gaming is dead. All hope lies in smaller teams and indie development. It is hilarious that at the time when things like Expedition 33 have released, which were made by smaller teams, and Silk Songs are releasing, which is made by a core development team of 3 freaking people, we're getting AAAs that have massive teams and massive budgets coming out and failing when these indie games are doing phenomenally. You love to see the AAA get wrecked, and they deserve it. It's gonna have a terrible launch. Basically, the game sucks and the performance sucks too. Devs don't know how to handle UE5 and just slap on this and then ship it. People are talking about how I'm sure having 2 forms of DRM doesn't help in the slightest. Yeah, it's just problem after problem after problem with this game. And sure, maybe when it comes out and after a few weeks of tweaking, it will be amazing, but I just highly doubt it. And you shouldn't buy something and then have to wait weeks for it to run properly. So I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on the situation, but Borderlands 4 is not going particularly well right now because it is crashing in promotional videos on social media. They're already damage controlling, saying the day 1 patch does a lot, but don't expect miracles. And apparently it's going to be a miracle if you can even get this game to run on modern hardware. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.